Welcome to Action for Animals. It's the exciting animal welfare series where we seek to enlighten and educate you about the proper care for our animals here on the island. And we've teamed up with the advocacy group Action for Animals Barbados to do so. I'm understanding that y'all are thoroughly enjoying the series, especially last week enjoying me and the felines. But I'll tell you, today I'm in my element as a dog person, because today we've got the pups. That's right. And the Woodbourne Boarding and Rescue Kennel have been doing some amazing work with rescue animals. As a matter of fact, they've been getting them from here in Barbados to loving owners overseas, especially in Canada. So we're looking forward to chatting today with Dorin, Boyce, who is the owner and manager of Woodbourne, and Krystal Greaves, who I understand is not only their chief member of staff, but is also the dog whisperer. So we're going to get a chance to meet them, as well as our special guests, Opal, who's between Dorin and Krystal, and Ruby, who's a little shy right now and still remaining in her carrier. So we'll get an opportunity to chat with them and meet the dogs in a little bit. But first, let's find out just what Woodbourne is all about.
So Dorin, thank you so much for allowing us to come and film today. It's been a pleasure. And you are the owner of Woodbourne. So what we would love to know is really, why do you still do it? Why do you still do this work?
I'm a dog lover. Dogs have been my life since I was about 25. I'm 87 years old now, so it's a hard habit to break away from. I'd love to retire, but there are too many animals here needing help.
Yeah. So since COVID, have you seen more dogs being abandoned?
Very much so, yeah, very much so. They're not only being abandoned, they're being taken out to very quiet areas and being pushed out of cars and things like that, and nobody knows, People have got to be able to ask for help. It's not a sin to ask for help. You can only be told yes or no. Most of the time with the animals, it's yes.
Okay, so Dorin, I can see that you've got some dogs here which do not look like rescue. So do you do boarding as well?
We do, yeah. The boarding tends to cover the rescue dogs.
Right.
If I get a few boarders in, it depends then how many rescue dogs I can take, because I'm not a charity. I don't get any funding. Most of this comes out of my own pocket.
So it's a labour of love, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got a big area here that they all come out and have a run during the day. Every kennel comes out. Sometimes we've got kennels that can come out together, but we don't take chances. I don't like to think that they could be a pack animal.
Okay, we're going to be back in a bit.
Come inside and have a look at some of the... We haven't got many in today.
So who are we meeting over here, Dorin?
This is Venus and Simba.
Ah.
Yes, Simba.
Hi, Simba.
They come in quite regularly because the lady travels an awful lot.
Okay, so what breed are these?
She's a golden lab, and that's a ridgeback.
A ridgeback. Okay. I think this is the first time I'm seeing a ridgeback in Barbados.
Really?
Yeah.
We've had several.
Yeah.
We had two that came from South Africa.
Okay.
They're now in
She's
England.
got the name of a lion, Simba.
Yeah.
So these are all of the dogs that are boarding?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
No. These are dogs that are fostered. Shush, shush,
These are
shush.
dogs that are...
Fostered. But they're back for 3 or 4 days while he goes away.
Okay. Hi. They're like wondering who we are.
These are boarders, these two.
Hi.
Shush, Daisy, Daisy. These are all our rescues.
Quite a big area as well, isn't
Yeah, yeah. He's an old boy.
Oh, who's this, Dorin?
He's Hunter.
Hi, Hunter. Can I put my hand for Hunter?
Yeah.
Hi, Hunter. Because you never know, I don't want to take the chance, you know.
This one was brought in a few weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
running around. I think it was at the gymnasium he was running around.
Okay.
But
Oh, you just had your surgery, but you've just been neutered, have you, Connor? Very good.
and these over here are rescues.
Hello there.
This beauty is Lawrence.
He is absolutely...
He's lovely.
Yes.
He was found running around Maxwell Coast Road with one of those big stud collars on him, in good condition, but we can never find the owner.
Yeah. And the reason why it's so important about getting these dogs off the
They've
street...
got to be microchipped so that we can find out who the heck they belong
who
to.
the owners are, yeah.
This is the main thing that we're trying to get, is to microchip the dogs.
Yeah.
This guy here, he was found padlocked to our fence.
Okay. Well, at least they did the decent thing in a
They
sense.
did,
In a sense.
you know, but the problem was he was down in the bushes and we didn't see him for a day.
Okay. Because he was quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we've seen some of what Woodbourne does and what Woodbourne is, but Dorin, before the show, we were actually chatting about some of what you've seen in terms of the rescues. Can you tell us what have you been finding with the animals who've needed help the most?
Mostly they are, the ones that we get in at Woodbourne are mostly adult dogs that have either been tossed out, abandoned or dumped. They're normally in very, very poor condition. You know, you can see every bone in their body. Or otherwise you've got the treatment of dogs where they've got mange, terrible, terrible mange, where they haven't got a piece of fur on their body. They're the dogs that we tend to get in. We don't get the puppies. We normally get the adult dogs that nobody wants.
Oh, wow. I know you've had 2 rescues like that, and you brought some images of them. I think the first was Charlie.
Charlie, yeah. Charlie was found at Vaucluse landfill. He was absolutely covered in diesel oil, and it was because it's an old-fashioned remedy here that if you put diesel oil on mange, it'll cure it.
Does it?
No, definitely not.
Wow.
It probably poisoned the dog more than anything, because they do tend to lick. He came into us when you've seen the picture of him. It took us around about 6 months of regular bathing, 3 to 4 times a week with special medicated shampoo. And he really surprised us, because we never dreamt he would turn out like a silver fox in the end.
What happened with Charlie in the
Charlie
end?
lives quite happily in the Channel Islands.
Wow.
He loves the beach. He makes friends with everybody. And then the other one, I was driving through Yorkshire Road on my birthday, and this dog stumbled out of the bushes and that, and I just couldn't believe that this was Stanley.
Yeah.
He was an absolute mess, and he was an older dog, and he smelt to high heaven. And but I took him in. I couldn't leave him there. Well, Stanley went on the first refugee Barbados flight to Canada. He didn't get all his fur back. He still had patches of bald patches, but he had so many offers of homes over there because they felt so sorry for him. He lives quite happily in Canada.
That's lovely. All right, we're gonna talk a little bit some more about the importance. I know we've spoken before about dogs and their care, but we're going to go even a step further, like that mange, you know, and also when it comes to changing nature, like cropping their tails and interfering with their ears so that a breed looks like a certain something. We're going to talk about that, and also the dog whispering when we come back. On Action for Animals today, we're taking a look at Woodbourne, and it's the Woodbourne Boarding and Rescue Kennel. And they've done some amazing work. A lot of their rescues are now living the life of luxury in Canada and other places. I think, Dorin, you said there was another dog which is on the bow of a boat.
He lives on a it's a taxi, a river taxi.
Interesting.
And he lives there in Toronto. He goes everywhere with the guy. The guy travels by bike, and he sits on a little crate on the handlebars. Everybody knows David Crockett, who is now known as Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad! And that is what dogs are. They're companions. I think people get fixated on the protection aspect of a dog, and they're social animals, and they love, you know, traveling in cars and on bicycles and that sort of thing. Krystal, how did you get into dog whispering?
Well, I have been doing it honestly from the time I left school. It has always been a passion. My first incident was when I was 5 years old. I found a dog underneath my grandmother's cellar. Yes. And I had been hiding and feeding it and calling it. So my mom caught me one day. And she said, "Oh my God, I see you, I see you." And I have always been doing it since then. That was the first dog, and I never stopped since then.
I noticed, you know, that Opal literally adores you. And you are petting her, and it's comforting for her as well. But Ruby's a little skittish, Dorin. What's their story?
Well, they arrived at somebody's front gate, and I think this one managed to get under the gate.
I would believe that.
And because the big dogs didn't really like it, so the lady came running out and opened the gate, and she came in. But she phoned me and she said, "Dorin, I can't keep them." And I said, "Well, you know, do they belong to anybody?" She said, "I really don't know." But she said, "Can you take them in?" So I said, "Well, Jack Russell's, yes, we'll always take them in."
Yeah.
So
Jacks
that's how
are
they
precious.
came in.
They're very precious. But they're also victims of tail cropping. You always see a Jack Russell in photos in the past with these little nubs for tails. My Jack, she's about 7, and unfortunately, as a puppy when I got her, her tail was cropped. But I've noticed that that's no longer allowed.
It isn't allowed. It's against the rule. You know, it's against the law really to crop their tails or even their ears. You know, you can't sort of keep altering dogs' personalities and that. I mean, tail is a great thing for them. It's a rudder for them.
Yeah, it's because they're jumpers.
Yeah, but the reason that Jack Russells used to have their tails cropped was because when they went down the foxholes and things like that, they could just grab that knob of tail to pull them out.
That's not right.
I don't, you know, the problem here is that Jack Russells with the really short stubby bits, they've obviously been done by a body and not by a vet.
Okay, explain what you mean.
Well, whoever's got the Jack Russell, they will tie an elastic band around the bottom part of the tail, and that will be really, really tight so it stops the blood flow, and then that piece of tail dries off.
Really? Okay, so it's not to be done anymore, please. The tails are there for a reason, you know. And so what about the ears? Because I know with some breeds, there's Doberman, Rottweilers and so on, Rottweilers, their tails are no longer supposed to be cut either.
No.
But they also mess with their ears.
Not so much the Rottweilers,
Not the Rotts,
it's mostly
but,
the Dobies and the American Bullies. And
when she says the American Bullies, is the American Bulldogs you're talking about?
Well, it's a bully breed. It's a new breed, evidently, from about 3 years ago when the American Bully breed came over here and started the bully breed here. But it's part pit bull and it's part bulldog, really. I think. I mean, I'm not saying.
Okay.
But it's got a bulldog appearance because it's really chunky and stocky.
But the thing about bulldogs is, though, that with all of those jowls and folds and so on, they have problems breathing.
Terrible problems. Those and the pugs and the short nose. There's a list of dogs that cannot now travel by plane.
And we're doing this to them. That's not nature doing that.
No.
We're breeding those into them.
Yeah. But the other one is the Corso.
I don't know that one.
Oh, that's the, what's it? Cane Corso. They're coming over in droves now.
But you're not seeing them. That means that people are still looking after them.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah. But they can be a really vicious dog. But it just depends. Obviously, every dog could be vicious. It depends upon the owner.
The owner. Pit bulls carry a very bad reputation.
They do.
But they're the most loving dogs.
They are.
Yes, they are.
And family dogs as well.
Well, in the Queen Elizabeth days of old, they used to be the nannies for the children.
Right.
The pit bulls
but
and that.
Then we made them fight and turned them aggressive and so on. So let's talk about care, proper care.
Well, all dogs need food, water and shelter, and they do need companionship,
socialization,
Okay. You know, but
and
Chris
love
is the one for
the
Chris is the one to tell you about all the care because she does most of that work for us, cutting nails and worming them and whatever.
So let's Krystal tell us all about what she does and how we can look after our animals when we come back. You're watching Action for Animals, and today we're taking a look at the actual care of dogs. And Krystal, we've heard and mentioned, is the dog whisperer, and part of her job is clipping nails and so on, and even that can be dangerous when it comes to dogs. It should be done by either a professional or someone who really knows what they're doing. Not your scissors and knives and things like that, please. So Krystal, quickly, if you could just tell us briefly about clipping and worming.
Okay, the full procedure when a dog comes in is to check it over fully for ticks and fleas, where we provide nest guard. We do the nail clipping, where, as you said, there is a white line lesion where if you cut below, you can damage the dog.
They can bleed.
Yeah, and that could be painful for the dog. So you want to avoid that.
How often should their nails be clipped?
Honestly, it's not a time basis. We just go upon how long the nails get, because it depends also on where you have your dog. If you have your dog in a concrete area, or you carry your dog for regular walks, they naturally rub down on their own. It's only so where you find a lot of house dogs where the nails get really long.
Right. What about chaining dogs? Totally against it, Dorin.
Totally against it. Totally against it. I mean, you can put a dog on a 6-foot chain and, you know, he's guarding your property, but you can walk 8 foot and that person can still get into your property. We don't allow any of our adopted dogs to go out where they're going to be chained or locked in a kennel 24 hours a day.
Right.
We like them to be free roaming.
Free roaming.
And we also stress the importance of neutering. We've got such a big crisis here of overdog population.
We've been discussing the importance of that with cats and dogs on the island.
We've got to get a spay and neuter program going.
Right.
The government have got to push out this, you know, that it isn't a difficult thing for them to be done.
Well, every little bit helps, and hopefully we're getting the message out there. But you know what's coming up? Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah. And people tend to think that they make really great gifts. Not a good idea.
No.
Why?
Not a good idea, because January is a really busy month for us because we're taking in all the unwanted gifts. Kids love the joy of it, but they get fed up with them. They get fed up with them very, very quickly, especially if they've come in and they didn't realise that they were going to have a dog. A dog, well, and a cat as well, I suppose, but a dog is a 12 to 15 year commitment. You know, you've got to think about what you're doing and can you look after it.
And you also have to know the breed.
Oh, yeah.
Read upon them, you know. They all have different characteristics and personalities. I mean, take a look. These are 2 Jack Russells. Opal's fast asleep, but Ruby now is quite alert because Ruby is a little bit more shy and skittish than Opal is. Opal is feeling very secure and very comfortable. Ruby, not so much. I had the pleasure of holding her and hugging her earlier, but she was shivering. And what do you do with an animal who is that shy?
They get used to being handled. You have to handle them a lot.
Oh, so you should.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
fine.
You have to handle them a lot. And something like that needs a companion to show the way, especially this one. I mean, she will teach her.
What about
It's everything to her.
exercise?
Well,
That's your, I come in. The dogs are out in the paddock every single day. We are different to other kennels and other places because we do not keep our dogs closed in cages all day long. Every single dog comes out.
And if we want to adopt any of your animals, what's the process? I know these 2 lovely ladies are leaving for Canada on Thursday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday.
They're leaving on Friday.
Well, the process is to come up and have a look at the dogs. I mean, the thing is that we don't have a lot of puppies. We have adult dogs. Bajans love puppies that they can train themselves. So we don't get a lot, you know, we need to have people that would give an adult dog a home. And those adult dogs are only probably a year, maybe 18 months, sometimes 3 years. But
And they've still got a lot of life
a
left.
lot of life. And, you know, they're very forgiving dogs. Once they know that they're being fed and looked after, they will literally die for you.
I think that is a perfect way for us to say thank you so much. Dogs will die for you. They're very, very special creatures. And I just can't imagine harming any of them, any animal. So if you're thinking of, you know, giving a dog for Christmas, please don't. Children, they're a lot of hard work and children get tired after a while. So let's just care for them And remember that there are organizations out there that you can call and ask for advice, and they will tell you the best way that you can care for your animals. And another way is us here on Action for Animals. Thank you so much for joining us. And next week, yeah, that should be quite interesting as we move away from the domestic animals and meet snakes. Thank you for joining us. You stay safe.